Our next speaker is somebody that many of you may have seen on the news and in his COVID-19 vaccination efforts as part of This Is Our Shot. So it's a pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Birinder Narang, and he was selected by the Year 2 Orientation Committee because of his work in addressing social issues in family practice and his passion for teaching medical students. Dr. Narang is a notable medical professional and influential community leader. He is an important member of both the medical community and larger community in the Lower Mainland and in Canada. He is a clinical assistant professor with the Department of Family Practice here at UBC, a medical contributor for Global BC and CKNW9AT, and a family physician for the Reach Community Health Centre. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Narang has played a pivotal role in the dissemination of resources, support, and health information to the community, and has quickly become a trusted, reliable health source for his community members. As such, he received the 2021 College of Family Physicians of Canada's Award of Excellence. He is also a memorable cultural personality within the South Asian community. He is a professional drum player, lover of music and Punjabi culture, and passionate about supporting young professionals and entrepreneurs. Welcome, Dr. Narang.
Thanks for that. One thing I haven't learned is how to show up on time, so apologies for that. I know I missed the land acknowledgement, but I'm gonna do one for myself. We're blessed and grateful to be here in the shared, unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. Thank you to the Faculty of Medicine and Dr. Pinder for inviting me to share my thoughts today. And thank you to any parents or families who are watching from or for gifting the world with all of you future physicians. Well done. You're not going to see him again for a few years. So as mentioned, my name is Birinder and I have a problem. It's called Twitter, but we're not going to get into that today. I'm a Sikh in faith and discipline. To be a Sikh is to be a lifelong learner. And medicine is a discipline of lifelong learning. So it was kind of built into my blood, I felt. I'm also a family doc. I work in East Van at Reach, a non-for-profit community health center. We have the privilege to serve marginalized communities, practicing family medicine integrated with addictions work, mental health, trans care, supporting refugees. So in my life of family medicine, in the last week at my clinic, at paperwork, labs, seeing patients, had a bunch of meetings on topics ranging from family med, provincial digital health strategies, primary care reform, sat on a Zoom call, chaired a board meeting last Monday, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in a banquet hall upstairs in an empty room, and subsequently went down to play drums with my friend at a wedding event who was singing right after the meeting. Did my 2 Global BC segments where we discussed vaccines, polio, heat strokes. Was on call for long-term care in Burnaby. Gave Emily David Eby a tour of our clinic, and a friend who's a singer shot a music video in my kitchen and living room. So basically, my wife's a very patient person. So when the pandemic started, I worked over 30 days straight in a clinic at Reach, and our urgent care had just opened up about a week or two before COVID hit. We didn't have enough staff, and so I thought that was going to end. It hasn't ended. Life just gets busier. So it's important to remember that. You think you're busy now, it's going to get busier. It's not a bad thing though. You're going to be asked to serve in many different in different roles that you never thought you'd be part of, and it'll be part of your privilege. It's exhausting, but I wake up, challenge myself to do better every day than the day previous, and do what I can to contribute to those empowering those around me. Oh, the nursing home's calling me. That's fine. I'll call him back. It's not planned, but I absolutely knew it was going to happen because it's Monday morning, and like I saw over the weekend that a bunch of my patients were getting discharged, so I was like, So Dr. Pinder connected a few months ago, asking if I'd be able to come down here today. I was humbled, surprised, and legit excited. Then I did absolutely nothing to prepare. Like my bad. So like procrastination, like just don't do it. Okay. Last night at 11, I started thinking, what the hell am I supposed to say tomorrow? So as usual, when you don't know what to do, you Google it. Didn't work. I watched the 2020 U of T stethoscope ceremony. 35 minutes. I woke up later and none the wiser. Sorry, I know you sent that to me, but so basically, I'm just going to do what I do, and I'm going to rant until someone tells me to stop. So this has to do with stethoscopes, right? So I have one in my bag. I forgot to put it on. So we're going to talk about my first stethoscope experience when I joined medicine. My dad, bless his heart, he's still practicing at 71. He's a psychiatrist. He worked through the entire pandemic like a boss, seeing all of his hospitalized patients. Back in 2009, I'm starting med school. He's like, I want to give you something. He's like, I want to give you my stethoscope from med school. So me being the terrible millennial that I am, I was like, yo, what the hell am I going to do with a psychiatrist stethoscope? Listens to people's woes? Like, so of course, I go buy a brand new Littman Classic 2, feeling pretty accomplished because I'd done my research and I came to that decision. This is going to be a great stethoscope, right? Um, I go around first year, I'm like picking up all these insignificant murmurs, hearing all these bruits that don't actually exist, but in my mind. Um, and then come home over Christmas to visit and show it to him. He's like, that's the same damn stethoscope I was going to give you. So I'm like, all right, first tip, don't turn down free stuff, especially wisdom when it's being passed down to you, but also you see swag, you got to grab it. Okay. You're all extremely intelligent people. You would not be here if you weren't. You're driven, you're born leaders. You know you'll need resilience. It's not going to be an easy road. It's all given. It'll be redundant for me to say that to you. But you've all come on different paths to get here. Some of you fresh out of undergrad. Some of you have been working in healthcare for like being a nurse for the last 5 years. And at least one of you has competed in the Olympics. What is bringing you together today is your commitment to learn and collectively serve those in need. Navigating people, systems, it's not easy. There will be agendas, expectation, biases pushed onto you, but you got to approach every situation with an open mind and humility. One of you, a young friend of mine, was doing a life support course last week to prepare for your upcoming journey. And the instructor started giving unsolicited advice on what health authorities people should work for and what not to. So that's trash. If you hear things like that, elevate yourselves above those levels of conversations. Don't waste your breath or energy on it. Issues exist in all institutions, hospitals, health authorities, but what is consistent is that they're dedicated, exhausted, hardworking physicians, nurses, allied health, and all other staff as well, and you're going to rely on every single one of them. Check your ego at the door now. You're going to be humbled over and over again for the rest of your life. I'm blessed to work in a team where I can ask colleagues for help, whether it's clinical or life related. And I have seasoned physicians who'll come to me for advice. We rely on each other's strengths, and that is what moves us forward and gets us through difficult times. So today is the first day of you guys are building your team. Inherently in your day-to-day life, it's going to be competition. It's going to suck at times. There are many highly competitive specialties, electives, projects that you guys are going to want to do. It's a rat race. At times it never seems ending. Don't shy away from this. Competition's healthy. Anxiety can be a powerful motivator. As long as you remain in control and your intent is pure and your motivation is based in service. You got to be flexible though, because you can do all the right things. Things might not work out your way. That's life. It's the X factor. You can't control for it. All the people sitting next to you are going to be your colleagues. When Dr. Krebs was doing the, look to your left and right, I was thinking back to those, those terrible movies or things you see growing up. It's like, look to your left, look to your right. 1 out of 3 of you is not going to pass. I'm like, I totally want to say that, but that's like the opposite of what we should be saying. So so we're not going to do that. But yeah, everyone look to your left, look to your right, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be on the other end of the line when you're calling for support in the middle of the night, and they're going to be calling you for support. So, relationships matter. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to get along with everyone. You're going to find out soon who you click with and who you don't click with. But you got to be respectful and respect everyone's position and their journey where they've gotten here and when they're going. One of my mentees, Romina, she's in a relationship with a brilliant dermatology resident. I remind her all the time, I'm only mentoring you to get access to your dermatologist partner, right? I mean, the skin's not going to take care of itself. So just remember that when you make your friends, they're all going to go into different specialties, and you're going to need to phone a friend. All right, let's come back to reality. Never forget that it's our privilege to serve others. If you're going into medicine for glory, money, or status, you missed the point. Every time you lay your hands on a patient with their permission, every time you put your stethoscope on, should remind you of a significant power differential that exists. You got to be cognizant of it. You got to never forget the vulnerable state patients come to us in. When I was a first year resident, I was confident in my skills, my history taken, my physical exams. I would present my cases. I had a great attending in Manitoba, Dr. Reynolds. I was presenting this case of a lovely 80-plus-year-old patient to him with a multitude of issues. And once he just stopped me, he's like, Birinder, relax. He's like, I have no doubt you know the medicine. You're going to make a reasonable plan. But did you ask him where he met his partner and what she did, what her job was at the time? Obviously, I had not done that. He was trying to impart on me the importance of understanding people, learning about them, their histories, where they came from. Only then can you practice patient-centered medicine and participate in shared decision making. Either way, it's totally fun for me to mess with my residents now when I make them ask ludicrous questions for my own amusement. You maybe learned or will learn about the four pillars of medical ethics, the framework on how to make decisions, beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice. What does that really mean? We often memorize words, invoke great people's names, declare oaths, allegiances, and do all sorts of performative, ritualistic things. But we live a world rife with hypocrisy. Do you live your life with purposeful intent? We must always ask ourselves and challenge ourselves and our own motivations for everything that we do. Our institutions that expect us to learn ethics and judge us on how well we know them, teach us about justice, they're the same ones that have discriminated against entire communities for generations and are still trying to figure out what reconciliation means in day-to-day life. I mean, our government just passed a bill saying, hey, we can't keep ignoring racial disparities that exist in society. Like, no kidding. We work tirelessly for the autonomy of our patients while working in systems that actually actively try to suppress our own autonomy. That's our reality. But we must remember where we came from and where we're going. And that it shouldn't deter us. It should empower us to improve on previous generations' mistakes and missteps. Many of us here are testaments to the hard work of our parents, grandparents, and ancestors. My paternal grandfather was a two-time refugee, started med school in what's now Pakistan, and I've been reflecting on this because last week was Independence Day, and escaped to the newly formed India during the world's largest mass migration event, where 10 million people's lives were lost. He completed schooling, went to Uganda, where he was working nonstop for his patients, almost lost his life at the hands of Idi Amin, and their soldiers just for being brown. Came to the UK and faced racism for the rest of his career. My father trained as a psychiatrist in prestigious UK hospitals, moved us to Canada when we were young because all of the racism he faced there were preventing him from actually getting an attending job. I made all my social medias public during COVID to help educate. Went on CBC one evening to do a live COVID vaccine Q&A. Got trashed mercilessly online for not being Canadian enough, for being a towelhead, all sorts of trash. This is our reality. Every time you see a patient or a colleague and engage with them, you got to ask yourself, are you approaching this through an anti-racist lens? If you're not, you got to start. You're going to be part of the problem. Lately, there's been a lot of discussion about the shortage of family doctors in the province and issues surrounding the profession. They're well known to all of us. I know that I'm hoping that some of my experiences will inspire some of you and see the inherent value in a strong primary care system that's led by strong family physicians will allow you to still live a life outside of medicine, which is key. I hope long before you graduate, family med will be revitalized as a profession. Will be desirable, competitive, and rewarding, as it has so much potential to be. So to summarize, if you're a musician, never stop playing. As one of my mentors told me on the day I started med school. Never stop collecting free swag. Challenge your own beliefs. Be humble, be anti-racist as you start down this life of immensely rewarding service. I wish you all the very best, and I look forward to learning from you all one day.